One of the things that's always interested me as I've been reading and writing stories is I've always wondered, does a character have to be likable to be interesting? Does a character have to be interesting to be likable? In other words, can a character just simply be interesting even if they're not likable and still hold your attention in a story? I've recently read some stories like that where I've run across some characters that I think a lot of other people who reviewed this book, and specifically I'm talking about Final Girls by Riley Sager, and a lot of people didn't really like the character Quincy Carpenter, who was the main character in the story. Some people felt that Quincy Carpenter, was just a not very likable character. And I know that some people in another book that I read by Riley Sager, I'm just not picking on Riley Sager, but those are just two recent books that I've read. The character Emma Davis in The Last Time I Lied, some people that I read the reviews afterward felt that she wasn't very likable in a lot of ways. And yet, both characters in their respective stories were, to me, so intriguing that I just couldn't help but finish the stories, because I just felt like they were very intriguing, interesting characters, even if they weren't always likable, even if they often made questionable decisions, even if they sometimes made very bad decisions. They still came across as compelling enough that I just had to see it through to figure out what was going to happen to them. And it really brought me around to thinking that even if a character isn't likable, they can still be very interesting. Even if the character becomes a sort of anti-hero in the sense that they are the hero at the end, but they're not necessarily any more likable at the end than they were at the beginning. Now, typically you think that, okay, a character starts off maybe flawed and somewhat unlikable at the ending. And then as they go through this process over the course of the novel, the book, that they learn and they grow and they develop, they mature, and they become a little bit more likable when they get to the end of the story. And in theory, it is supposed to happen that way in a lot of cases, but in some cases it doesn't happen that way, and they don't necessarily become any more likable at the end than they were in the beginning. But that doesn't make them any less interesting to follow and to observe. It just could make for a more interesting conversation after you finished reading, as you start to describe, break down, understand, and share your thoughts about a complex character that maybe wasn't very likable, but was hella intriguing.